You were a mistake. My mom said it loud enough for the entire restaurant to hear. My dad's fork froze midair. My brother stared at his plate. His fiancée whispered, "Oh my God." Everyone went silent. And then I did something I'd never done before. I smiled, picked up my purse, pushed my chair in, and walked out. But to understand why that moment felt like freedom instead of heartbreak, I need to take you back 3 weeks earlier, to the text that started everything. I was sitting on my apartment floor at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, laptop open, scrolling through my 87th job application of the month, when my phone buzzed. I almost didn't look at it, but the name on the screen made my stomach drop. Mom. We hadn't spoken in 6 months, not since I told her I needed space after she guilt-tripped me about missing Easter dinner because I couldn't afford the plane ticket home. Her response? If you really loved this family, you'd find a way. I didn't respond, and she didn't call again. Until now. I stared at the notification for a long moment before finally opening it. Text from Mom. Connor is engaged. Family dinner this Saturday, Olive Garden, 6 p.m. You will be there. No excuses. Signed, Mom. No, "Hi, Harper." No, "How have you been?" No, "I miss you." Just a command. I felt that familiar tightness in my chest, the one that showed up every time my mom inserted herself back into my life after weeks of silence. Not because she wanted to see me, but because she needed something from me. This time, it was my presence, my performance, my role as the dutiful daughter in whatever picture-perfect family narrative she was trying to sell. I set my phone down and stared at the wall. My name is Harper Reed. I'm 25 years old, and for as long as I can remember, I've been the invisible child in a family that only saw me when it was convenient. Let me give you some context. My younger brother, Connor, is 22. He's a senior in college, tuition fully paid by our parents. He got a brand new car when he turned 18. He's never worked a job in his life because he's never had to. Every birthday, every holiday, every accomplishment, my mom throws him a party, posts about him on Facebook, brags to her friends. Connor is the golden child. And me? I'm the backup plan. I worked 2 jobs to pay my way through community college. I graduated with a degree in marketing and $30,000 in student loans. I finally landed a decent job at a small agency last year. Decent pay, decent benefits, decent life. And then the pandemic hit. I got laid off in March. My savings evaporated by June. By August, I was doing freelance writing gigs for $50 a pop and DoorDash deliveries just to cover rent and groceries. When I told my mom I lost my job, you know what she said? Well, maybe if you'd picked a better major, you wouldn't be in this mess. Not, "Are you okay?" Not, "Do you need help?" Just judgment. I stopped calling after that, and for 6 months, my mom didn't reach out either. Until Connor got engaged. Now, suddenly, I was worth remembering. I picked up my phone and stared at the message again. My roommate Jess walked into the living room holding a mug of coffee. She took one look at my face and sat down next to me. What happened? I handed her my phone. She read the text, then looked at me with that expression she always had when my mom was involved, half concern, half disbelief. Please tell me you're not actually going. I didn't answer. Harper. It's Connor's engagement, I said quietly. If I don't show up, I'm the bad guy. You're already the bad guy in her head, Jess said. She only calls when she needs something. When's the last time she asked how you're doing? I opened my mouth to answer and realized I couldn't. When was the last time my mom called just to talk, just to see if I was okay? I couldn't remember. Jess sighed and set her coffee down. Harper, every time you go home, you come back destroyed. She humiliates you, she ignores you, she makes you feel like you're not enough, and then you spend weeks trying to convince yourself it wasn't that bad. I know. So why are you even considering going? because I was still holding on to this stupid, desperate hope that maybe this time would be different. Maybe this time my mom would see me. Maybe this time she'd be proud of me. Maybe this time I wouldn't feel like a mistake. But I didn't say any of that out loud. Instead, I just texted back, "I'll be there." Jess shook her head. This is going to end badly. I looked at her, and I thought, she was right. Before we get into this, if you've ever had a mom who only calls when she needs something, you already know how this ends. Go ahead and hit subscribe now because you're going to want to see where this goes.
2 days before the engagement dinner, my mom called. I was in the middle of editing a freelance article, some blog post about 10 ways to boost your morning productivity that was paying me $40, when my phone started ringing. Mom. I stared at the screen. Part of me wanted to let it go to voicemail, but another part of me, the part that was still that little girl desperate for her mom's approval, made me answer. "Hi, Mom." "Harper, hi, sweetie." Her voice was sugary sweet, too sweet, the kind of sweet that meant she wanted something. I braced myself. "How are you?" she asked. "I'm fine, busy with work." "Oh, good, good. I'm so glad you're staying productive." She paused. Then, "Listen, honey, I need a teeny tiny favor." And there it was. "What's up?" I asked, my voice flat. "So, you know my friend Linda, we've been talking about starting this little catering business together. Nothing big, just small events, you know? Anyway, we got our first booking, this corporate luncheon thing, and we need to buy supplies up front. Tablecloths, serving trays, all that stuff." I said nothing. "The thing is," she continued, "we're just a little short on cash right now, like $800 short, and I was wondering if you could lend it to me, just for a week. I'll pay you back Friday, I promise." My stomach twisted. "Mom, I'm not really working right now. I'm doing freelance stuff, but it's not steady, and I'm barely—" "Harper." Her voice changed. The sweetness vanished. "If you really cared about family, you'd help your mother. It's only a week. I'm not asking for much." Guilt flooded in. That old, familiar guilt that I'd been trained to feel since I was a kid. You're being selfish. You're being difficult. You're not a good daughter. I thought about my bank account. I had $1,847 saved, money I'd been hoarding for emergencies. Rent was due in 2 weeks. I still owed $200 on my credit card. But I also had my payday-loan app. I'd built up my credit limit on it over 3 years, always borrowing small amounts, always paying it back on time. It was my safety net, my backup plan for when things got tight. Right now, my limit was $5,000. "Harper?" My mom's voice was sharp now. "Are you even listening to me?" I can lend you $800, I said quietly, "but I need it back by Friday." "Of course, I already said that. Friday, I promise." I opened the app, took out an $800 loan at 18% interest, 7-day repayment window. I sent the money via Zelle. "Got it," my mom said, her voice bright again. "Thank you, sweetie. You're such a good daughter. I'll pay you back Friday. Love you." She hung up before I could respond. I sat there, staring at my phone. Jess walked in. "Was that your mom?" I nodded. "What did she want?" $800. Jess closed her eyes. "Harper." "She said she'd pay me back Friday." "And you believed her?" I didn't answer, because honestly, I didn't know. Friday came. I checked my phone every 10 minutes, waiting for the Zelle notification. At 4:47 p.m., it came through. $800 from Diane Reed, plus an extra $144 to cover the interest. I stared at the notification, genuinely shocked. She actually paid me back. I texted Jess. "She paid me back." Jess replied, "Don't let your guard down. She's testing you, building trust so she can take later." I wanted to tell her she was wrong. I wanted to believe my mom had changed. I wanted to believe she actually cared. So I ignored Jess's warning, and exactly 1 week later, my mom called again. This time, she needed $3,000.
The call came on a Wednesday afternoon. I was sitting at my kitchen table eating instant ramen and scrolling through job boards when my phone lit up. Mom. I hesitated. My gut told me not to answer, but I did anyway. Hi, Mom. Hi, Harper. Hey, sweetie, how are you? I'm okay. What's up? So, remember that catering business I told you about with Linda? I did, unfortunately. It's going amazing, she continued, her voice bright and energized. Like, better than we ever expected. We've already booked 3 more events for next month. This could actually turn into something big. That's great, I said carefully. But here's the thing. We need to buy more inventory to keep up with demand. Professional-grade equipment, bulk ingredients, all that stuff. And if we don't invest now, we're going to lose momentum. I closed my eyes. Here we go. How much do you need? I asked, even though I already knew I shouldn't be asking. 3,000. My stomach dropped. Mom, I don't have that kind of... I know, but you have that loan app thing, right? The one you used last time? Harper, this is a real opportunity. If this business takes off, I'll be able to pay you back in 2 weeks, maybe sooner. Mom, that's a lot of money, and the interest on these loans is brutal. If I don't pay it back in time, you won't have to worry about that, she said firmly, because I'm paying you back. In 2 weeks, I swear on my life. I should have said no. Every part of me was screaming to say no, but then she said it. After everything I've done for you, Harper, after everything I've sacrificed, you can't help your own mother? And just like that, the guilt came flooding back. I thought about all the time she'd thrown that phrase at me growing up, all the time she'd reminded me how much it cost to raise me, how much I owed her, how ungrateful I was. Okay, I said quietly. Okay? I'll send you 3,000, but I need it back in 2 weeks. I'm serious, Mom. If I don't pay this loan back on time, the interest doubles. I know, 2 weeks, I promise. I opened my loan app. My hands were shaking. I took out $2,000 from the payday loan, maxing out what I could borrow in one go, and another $1,000 as a cash advance on my credit card at 24% APR. The app warned me, repayment due in 14 days. Failure to repay will result in additional fees and interest. I ignored it, sent the money via Zelle. Got it, my mom chirped. Thank you so much, Harper. You're the best. I'll call you soon, okay? Okay. She hung up. I sat there staring at my phone, feeling sick. Jess came home an hour later and found me still sitting at the table staring into space. What's wrong? I lent my mom $3,000. You what? I lent her for her catering business. She said she'd pay me back in 2 weeks. Harper, Jess sat down across from me, her face serious. She's not going to pay you back. You don't know that. Yes, I do, and so do you. I didn't respond, because deep down, I knew she was right. 4 days passed. I texted my mom on Saturday, "Hey, just checking in. How's the catering stuff going?" No response. Sunday, "Mom," nothing. Monday, "Mom, I really need to hear from you. The loan is due in 10 days. Read receipt, no reply. By Tuesday, I was panicking. I called her, straight to voicemail. I called again, voicemail. I called 5 more times, nothing. And then finally, on Wednesday, 4 full days after I'd sent the money, she texted me back. "Mom, seriously, that's the money you're worried about? After everything I've sacrificed for you? If you were a good daughter, you would have just given it to me. Do you know how much it cost to raise you?" I read the message 3 times, my hands shaking. She wasn't going to pay me back. She never planned to. My phone started ringing. Not my mom, the collections company from the payday loan app. I let it go to voicemail. Then they texted, "Your payment of $2,000 plus $360 interest is due in 9 days. Failure to repay will result in legal action. Panic set in. I called my brother, Connor. Hello? Connor. He sounded annoyed. What's up? I'm in class. I need your help. With what? Mom borrowed $3,000 from me and now she's not responding. I've been calling her for days and... Dude, you're probably just overreacting. She's been super busy with the catering stuff. Just go home and talk to her face to face. Connor, I can't afford to. Then I don't know what to tell you. Look, I gotta go. Just calm down, okay? He hung up. I sat there with my phone in my lap and my chest tight. Then I called my dad. He picked up on the third ring. Hello? Dad, I need to talk to you about Mom. I explained everything. The loans, the ghosting, the collections calls, the demand letter I'd just received threatening legal action. There was a long silence. Then, Harper, I'm sure your mother will figure it out. She's just stressed right now, with Connor's engagement and everything. Dad, she stole from me. Don't use that word, she said sharply. She's your mother. She borrowed $3,000 and now she won't respond. I'm getting threatened with a lawsuit and you're telling me to just, what, let it go? Another long silence. I'll talk to her, he said finally. Will you, or are you just saying that so I'll stop calling? He didn't answer. Dad, I said I'll talk to her. And then he hung up. I sat there on my living room floor with my phone in my lap, and I realized something. No one was going to help me. Not my mom, not my dad, not my brother. I was completely alone. And that's when I decided I was going home. If you saw this coming and I didn't, drop a comment so I can feel even worse about my life choices. Also, if you're just watching without liking or subscribing, okay, I see how it is. It's fine. I'm used to being ignored.
I booked a flight that same night. It wasn't cheap. Last-minute tickets never are, but at this point, I didn't care. I was desperate. My parents live in a small town outside Indianapolis, about a 2-hour flight from where I live in Chicago. Add a 45-minute Uber from the airport, and I'd be at their front door by 9 p.m. Jess tried to talk me out of it. Harper, going there in person isn't going to change anything. She's not suddenly going to care just because you show up. I have to try. Why? I didn't have an answer. Maybe because I was still that little girl who thought if she just tried hard enough, her mom would finally see her. Maybe because I couldn't accept that the person who was supposed to love me unconditionally had used me like an ATM and then thrown me away. Or maybe I was just stupid. Probably that one. I landed at 8:47 p.m. The Uber dropped me off at 9:32. My childhood home looked exactly the same. Beige siding, white shutters, a front porch with 2 rocking chairs that no one ever sat in. The kind of house that looked perfect from the outside but was rotting on the inside. I stood on the driveway for a moment, staring at the lit windows. Then I walked up to the door and knocked. My dad answered. Harper? He looked genuinely surprised. What are you doing here? I need to talk. Can I come in? He hesitated, then stepped aside. The house smelled like it always did. Vanilla candles and something faintly burnt. My dad led me into the living room where the TV was playing a muted basketball game. Where's Mom? I asked. She's still at work. She'll be home soon. I sat down on the couch. My dad stayed standing, looking uncomfortable. So, what's going on? He asked. I pulled out my phone and opened my banking app. Showed him the loan statement, the collections notice, the demand letter threatening legal action if I didn't pay $2,360 by next Friday. Mom borrowed $3,000 from me 2 weeks ago. She promised she'd pay me back in 2 weeks, and now she's ignoring me, and I'm getting threatening messages from the collections company. If I don't pay this back, I get sued. My dad stared at the screen. Then he looked away. Harper, I'm sure your mother will figure it out. She's just been really stressed with Connor's engagement and... Dad, she stole from me.
His face hardened. Don't use that word. What word should I use? She took my money under false pretenses and refuses to give it back. What do you call that? She's your mother. So that gives her the right to ruin my credit, to put me in debt, to ignore me when I'm begging her for help? He said nothing. I felt tears burning behind my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. Dad, I need you to help me. Please, just talk to her. Tell her I need the money back. I'll talk to her, he said quietly. Will you? Or are you just saying that so I'll leave you alone? He looked at me then, really looked at me, and for a split second, I thought I saw something in his eyes. Guilt, maybe, or regret. But then he looked away. I said I'll talk to her. Why won't you stand up to her? I asked, my voice breaking. Why do you always take her side? I'm not taking anyone's side. Yes, you are. You've always taken her side. When she treats me like garbage, you say nothing. When she ignores me, you say nothing. When she makes me feel like I don't matter, you just let it happen. Harper, you're choosing her again. He didn't deny it. We sat in silence for a long moment. Then I heard the front door open. My mom's voice echoed through the hallway. Tom? Whose car is in the driveway? She walked into the living room, saw me, and her face immediately shifted from confusion to annoyance. Harper? What are you doing here? I stood up. We need to talk. Did you fly here to yell at me about money? Her voice was sharp, defensive. Are you serious right now? You've been ignoring my calls for a week. I showed you the demand letter. This isn't a joke, Mom. I'm getting sued if I don't pay this back. You're being dramatic. I'm being dramatic? My voice rose. You ghosted me after I lent you $3,000. You told me you'd pay me back in 2 weeks, and now you're acting like I'm the problem. I don't have time for this. She walked to leave. Mom, I said I don't have time. She walked out of the room. I stood there stunned. My dad wouldn't look at me. I went to the guest room, lay down on the bed, and stared at the ceiling. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, my mom was gone before I woke. No note, no text, nothing. I flew back to Chicago that afternoon, feeling more alone than I ever had in my life. But the real nightmare was just beginning. 2 days later, my phone rang. It was my Aunt Carol. I stared at the screen, my stomach sinking. Aunt Carol was my mom's older sister. We'd always been close when I was a kid. She was the cool aunt who slipped me candy and let me stay up late when I slept over. But as I got older, I realized she was just another extension of my mom, a flying monkey, someone who always took my mom's side, no matter what. I almost didn't answer, but I did. Hey, Aunt Carol. Harper. Her voice was cold, clipped. I just got off the phone with your mother. Here we go. She told me what happened. She told me you flew home and attacked her. My blood ran cold. What? She said you've been violent with her for years, that you even beat her up after high school graduation and the whole neighborhood saw it. I couldn't breathe. Aunt Carol, that never happened. None of that is true. Well, your mother was sobbing on the phone, Harper. Why would she lie? I don't know. My voice cracked. I never touched her. I swear to God, I never... You also said you've been harassing her for money, that you're trying to manipulate her into giving you thousands of dollars she doesn't have. I felt like I was going to throw up. That's not what happened. She borrowed money from me, $3,000, and now she won't pay me back. That's not what she told me. Because she's lying. Aunt Carol was quiet for a moment. Then, I don't know what's going on with you, Harper, but you need to apologize to your mother. This is really hurting her. She hung up before I could respond. I sat there on my couch, staring at my phone, my entire body shaking. My mom was spreading lies, telling people I was violent, telling people I was the problem, and everyone believed her. I called my dad. He didn't answer. I texted Connor. No response. I was completely alone. And the engagement dinner was in 2 days. Saturday came. I almost didn't go. I stood in front of my closet for 20 minutes, staring at my clothes, trying to decide if I had the strength to walk back into that house and pretend everything was fine. But guilt is a powerful thing. If I didn't show up, I'd be the villain, the ungrateful daughter who couldn't even be bothered to celebrate her brother's engagement. So I went. I put on jeans and a sweater, grabbed a card and a small wrapped gift for Connor and Ashley, and drove to the Olive Garden on the edge of town. I walked in at 6:03 p.m. The hostess led me to a table in the back corner where my family was already seated. My mom was at the head of the table, scrolling through her phone. My dad was buttering a breadstick. Connor and Ashley, his fiancée, a sweet-looking blonde girl with a bright smile, were holding hands and laughing about something. None of them looked up when I approached. "Hey," I said quietly, setting the gift on the table. "Congrats, Connor. I'm really happy for you." Connor glanced at me. "Thanks." That was it. No hug, no smile, just thanks. I sat down at the far end of the table, next to Ashley. She turned to me, her smile warm and genuine. "Hi, you must be Harper. It's so nice to finally meet you." I blinked, surprised that someone had actually acknowledged my existence. "You too," I said. "Connor's told me so much about you." I doubted that, but I smiled anyway. The waiter came by, took our drink orders. My mom ordered a glass of wine, my dad got a beer, Connor and Ashley got Cokes. I ordered water. And then the dinner started. My mom dominated the conversation, as always. She talked about wedding venues, bridesmaids' dresses, flower arrangements, Connor's job offer at some tech company in Indianapolis. I sat quietly, picking at my salad, trying to be invisible. And then my mom shifted. She leaned back in her chair, a mischievous smile across her face. "Oh my God," she said, laughing. "Speaking of embarrassing stories, do you guys remember when Harper peed herself at the grocery store?" The table erupted in laughter. Connor laughed the loudest. My face burned. "Mom, I was 7. "Oh, stop being so sensitive," she waved me off. "We're just having fun." Ashley's smile faded. She glanced at me, looking uncomfortable. I tried to redirect the conversation. "So, Ashley, when's the wedding?" My mom's head snapped toward me. "Harper, not everything is about you." I stared at her. I literally just asked about the wedding. "See?" My mom looked around the table, gesturing at me. "This is why we don't invite her to things. She always makes it awkward." Connor muttered something under his breath to Ashley. I couldn't hear what he said, but I saw her look down at her plate. My chest tightened. I wanted to leave. I wanted to stand up, walk out, and never come back. But I couldn't, because if I left, I'd be the bad guy. So I stayed. I sat there, silent, while my family laughed and talked and acted like I didn't exist. Quick question. If your family humiliated you in public, would you leave or stay? Let me know in the comments. And if you've been watching this whole time without subscribing, congrats, you're basically my brother. Silent, unhelpful, but here anyway. And then, halfway through dinner, I made the mistake of trying again. "So, Mom, about the money." She cut me off immediately. "Are you seriously bringing this up right now?" "I just need to know when." Unbelievable. She threw her napkin on the table. "You can't even let your brother have one nice dinner without making it about yourself." "I'm not trying to." "Yes, you are. You always do this." I looked at my dad. He was staring at his plate, silent. I looked at Connor. He was shaking his head, looking annoyed. No one was on my side. I pushed my chair back and stood up. "I'm leaving."
"Of course you are." My mom's voice was sharp, cutting through the noise of the restaurant like a knife. I froze, my hands gripping the back of my chair. You can't handle one family dinner without being dramatic? She continued, her voice rising now. Other tables were starting to look over. I turned around. Dramatic? My voice shook. You just humiliated me in front of everyone. I was joking. God, Harper, you're so sensitive. When's the last time you asked how I was doing, Mom? Silence. The entire table went quiet. When's the last time you called me just to talk? I asked, my voice louder now. Not to ask for money, not to guilt-trip me into showing up, just to see if I was okay. My mom's face twisted. I don't have time for this. You never do. Harper, my dad finally spoke, his voice low and warning. Let's not do this here. I turned to him. Where should I do it, Dad? You didn't help me when she stole $3,000 from me. You told me to let it go. So where am I allowed to talk about it? He looked down at his plate. My mom stood up now, her face red. You want to know the truth, Harper? Yeah, Mom, I do. She leaned forward, her hands on the table, her voice venomous. You've never appreciated what you have. Your brother worked hard for everything he got, but you just expect things to be handed to you. I worked 2 jobs to pay for school, I said, my voice shaking. I've never asked you for anything. Because you're ungrateful, she spat, ever since you were born. I felt something break inside me. I stood up straighter, looked her in the eye. Say what you really mean, Mom. She hesitated, and then she said it, loud enough for the entire section to hear. You were a mistake. The restaurant went silent. Forks stopped scraping. Conversations died mid-sentence. I felt every pair of eyes in the room turn toward us. My dad's fork froze in midair. Connor's face went pale. Ashley whispered, "Oh my God." And me? I felt the old shame rising, the urge to apologize, to shrink, to beg for forgiveness. But then something shifted. Something snapped. I looked at my mom, and I smiled. Not a happy smile, a free smile. I picked up my purse, pushed my chair in, and said, calm as glass, "Thank you." My mom blinked. What? I needed to hear you say that out loud. Harper! I spent years thinking I was the problem. I thought if I just tried harder, worked harder, loved harder, you'd finally see me. But you just told me the truth. I was a mistake. And you know what? I'm done trying to fix something that was never my fault. I turned toward the door. Harper, wait! I didn't turn around. I walked through the restaurant, my head high, my heart pounding. I walked out into the parking lot, got into my car, and drove away. And for the first time in my entire life, I felt free.
I blocked my mom's number the second I got home. Jess was sitting on the couch when I walked in, and she took one look at my face and knew. What happened? I told her everything. The dinner, the humiliation, the moment my mom called me a mistake in front of everyone, and the moment I walked out. Jess pulled me into a hug, and for the first time in weeks, I cried. Not because I was sad, but because I was free. The texts started the next morning. Even though I'd blocked my mom's number, she found ways around it. Different phone numbers, Aunt Carol's phone, even my dad's phone. Week 1. Love bombing. Sunday, 11:42 a.m. Unknown number. Harper, it's Mom. I love you so much. Please come home. Let's talk. Sunday, 3:18 p.m. I didn't mean what I said. I was stressed. Please forgive me. Monday, 9:03 a.m. Harper, please, I'm your mother. We can work this out. I didn't respond to any of them. I screenshotted every single one and saved them in a folder labeled Evidence, because I knew this was just the beginning. Week 2. Guilt. Tuesday, 7:21 p.m. Aunt Carol's phone. You're breaking my heart, Harper. How can you do this to your mother? Wednesday, 10:14 a.m. I'm crying every night. Is this what you want? To hurt me? Thursday, 2:47 p.m. I gave you everything. I sacrificed my whole life for you, and this is how you repay me? I muted the notifications. Jess told me to change my number, but part of me wanted to see how far she'd go. Week 3. Anger. Friday, 6:39 p.m. Unknown number. Fine. Don't come crawling back when you need help. Saturday, 8:52 a.m. You're a terrible daughter. I gave you everything and you treat me like garbage. Sunday, 11:03 p.m. I hope you're happy. You've destroyed this family. I showed the texts to Jess. She looked at me, her face serious. This is textbook narcissistic abuse. Love bombing, guilt tripping, anger. She's cycling through it all. I know. Are you okay? Yeah, I actually am. Because for the first time in my life, I could see it clearly. The manipulation, the guilt, the control, and I wasn't falling for it anymore. Month 2, smear campaign. The texts from extended family started coming in. Aunt Carol. Your mother says you've been telling lies about her. She's devastated, Harper. Why are you doing this? Cousin Rachel, who I hadn't talked to in 5 years. I don't know what's going on with you, but you need to apologize to your mom. Family is everything. Uncle Mike. Your mom's been crying nonstop. Whatever you did, you need to fix it. I didn't respond to any of them, but it hurt, because my mom was doing exactly what I knew she would, playing the victim and turning everyone against me. Jess found me sitting on the bathroom floor one night, scrolling through the messages, tears streaming down my face. Harper, I'm fine. No, you're not. She sat down next to me and took my phone, turned it off. They don't know the truth, she said, and that's not your fault. I know. Do you? I didn't answer, because part of me still felt like maybe I was the problem. Maybe I was being dramatic. Maybe I should just apologize and make it all go away. But then I remembered the look on my mom's face when she called me a mistake, and I knew. I wasn't the problem. I never was. Month 2, the fake apology. I was at work, finally work, after landing a job at a marketing agency 3 days after the dinner, the universe has a sense of humor, when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to pick up. Hello? Harper. My voice was soft, trembling. It's me. I froze. I've been trying to reach you for weeks. I know I hurt you, and I'm so sorry. I said nothing. Can we please just talk? She asked, her voice breaking. I miss you. I closed my office door and sat down. What do you want, Mom? I want to apologize. I know what I said was horrible. I was under so much pressure with the wedding planning, and I snapped. But I didn't mean it. You have to believe me. You called me a mistake. I know, and I'm sorry you felt hurt by that. I paused. You're sorry I felt hurt? I'm sorry it came out the way it did, she said quickly. I didn't mean for you to take it that way. There it was, the non-apology. I'm sorry you felt hurt. I'm sorry it came out the way it did. I didn't mean for you to take it that way. Not, I'm sorry I said it. Not, I was wrong. My therapist's voice echoed in my head. A real apology doesn't include but. It doesn't shift blame. It takes responsibility. Are you apologizing for calling me a mistake, or are you apologizing for how I reacted to it? Silence. Then, well, you did embarrass me in front of everyone, Harper. You made a scene. I hung up, and I blocked the number. And for the first time since this whole nightmare started, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace.
It's been 1 year since I walked out of that restaurant. 1 year since my mom called me a mistake. 1 year since I chose myself. I still talk to my dad occasionally. Brief, surface-level phone calls where we talk about the weather and avoid talking about her. He's never apologized for not standing up for me, but he's stopped defending her. And honestly, that's enough. Connor? I didn't hear from him for 11 months. And then, one random Tuesday in October, he texted me. "Hey, Mom's been really stressed since you left. Can you just call her? It would mean a lot." I stared at the text for a long time. Then I typed back, "I'm not the one who called her daughter a mistake in a restaurant." "He didn't mean it like that. You're being dramatic." There it was. Even after everything, he still thought I was the problem. If she didn't mean it, she would have apologized. A real apology, not a "sorry you felt that way" apology. A real one. She's your mom, Harper. You're really going to throw away your whole family over one fight? She threw me away a long time ago, Connor. I just finally stopped pretending she didn't. He didn't respond. And I didn't reach out again, because I realized something. Connor wasn't my ally. He never was. He was too comfortable being the golden child to risk standing up for me. And that was okay. I didn't need him anymore. 2 weeks later, I ran into Aunt Carol at a coffee shop downtown. I was in line ordering a latte when I heard my name. "Harper?" I turned around. Aunt Carol was standing there, her eyes wide, her face shocked. "Oh my God, Harper, you look great. How are you?" I smiled politely. "I'm good. Working, staying busy." "Wait, working?" She looked confused. "I thought your mom said you were still unemployed, that you were struggling." I felt a flicker of anger, but I kept my voice calm. "I've been working for almost a year, got hired 3 days after the engagement dinner, got promoted 2 months later." Aunt Carol's face went pale. She told us you were struggling? That she was worried about you?" "I'm sure she did." "Harper, I have to go," I said, grabbing my coffee. "It was nice seeing you." I walked out before she could say anything else. And that night, my phone exploded. Voicemails, texts, all from my mom, using Aunt Carol's phone. Voicemail 1, crying. "Harper, please call me. I heard you got a job. Why didn't you tell me? I've been so worried about you." Voicemail 2, angry. "You've been working this whole time and didn't say anything? Do you know how that makes me look? People think I'm a terrible mother." Voicemail 3, victim mode. "I can't believe you'd lie to your own family after everything I've done for you. I don't even know who you are anymore." I listened to all of them, and then I deleted every single one. Jess walked into my room. "Was that your mom?" I nodded. "What'd she say?" I smiled. "She's mad I didn't tell her I got a job." Jess shook her head, laughing. "Good. Let her stay mad." Final scene. It's Thanksgiving. I'm hosting Friendsgiving at my apartment. Jess is here, a few coworkers, some friends from college. We're laughing, eating wine, playing board games. This is what family is supposed to feel like. My phone buzzes on the counter. Unknown number. It's Mom, new phone. "I'm sorry for everything. Can we please talk? I miss you." I pick up my phone, hover over the keyboard, type, "I forgive you, but I'm not coming back." Delete it. Type, "I need more time." Delete it. Finally, I just close the message, put my phone face down on the counter, and go back to my friends. Because I don't miss her. I miss the mom I thought I had. The mom who would have been proud of me, who would have supported me, who would have loved me unconditionally. But that person never existed, and I'm done waiting for her to become someone she's not. If you made it this far and related to any of this, drop a blue in the comments. And if you still haven't subscribed, I mean, I walked away from my toxic family. I can handle you walking away too. But it would have been nice. Just saying.